Hello guys and welcome to the MSC Performance Podcast. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Steve, it's your 44th birthday.
Happy birthday, Steve.
Thank you very much. I'll stick with 44 and we'll hold on to that for as long as possible.
How old are you actually?
45 today.
Peaking.
45.
Peaking. 45 is the new 35.
Exactly. And
35 is the new 25?
I hope so.
Yeah, still an athlete, still turning the gears, and it's just another year, right?
Ride it till the wheels fall off, brother.
Exactly.
How do you feel? Do you feel good? You in the latter part of the 40s, you're feeling strong, you're feeling... the
latter part, he's a fucker. He's such a...
Physically, the second half, you feel good?
Yeah, physically everything feels fine. This is the first year I've really thought about, fuck, I'm nearly 50. When am I going to retire? Oh my gosh, I might die. Like, mate, but
you're never retiring.
No, I graft too hard, but that'll probably kill me in itself.
Good way to go.
Yeah. My cousin retired and he's 52.
That's good.
So he's done all right.
Was he a self-employed personal trainer?
Tech wizard. So that kind of messed with my head a little bit because I was like, fuck, he's a bazillionaire and I'm not. But it's fine. I'm happy.
But is retiring the dream though?
No,
like for someone like you who has the flexibility that you do in terms of your job and what you're doing, like you getting to a place where you can work because you want to work. As opposed to like needing to work, or a bit of both. It's probably like the answer, isn't it? Like
I think so. Like if I won the
maybe
Euro
peaking at 90 is not the one, but like you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
if I won the Euro Millions tonight, I'd still really want to come in and doopy the floor and do some coaching. So I wouldn't
get you on a voluntary basis of floor cleaner.
Yeah, I'd pay you to doopy the floor.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Like here's.
Would you buy us a better one?
Yeah, I'd buy you a roof as well.
That'd be nice.
In an instant.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Fingers crossed for Euro Millions tonight then.
But all jokes aside then, physically when you're training, how does it feel like now compared to in your 30s? Do you still feel the same? Do you feel like the recovery's a little bit slower? I'm not taking the piss. Because you have a lot of people that come in and be like, I'm getting late 30s now, and it's like, mate, calm down. Like,
so much of it's a mindset thing.
Yeah, so like you're still training hard, you're still playing basketball, 3-4 times a week. So just wondering how you find like the recovery side of things now comparatively.
I'm really good at sleep. So recovery is generally okay.
Yeah.
Like I can definitely tell the last 2 or 3 years the drop off in speed, and like.
So that's what they say, isn't it? Speed's the one that drops off quick. Actually, strength and endurance stuff you can actually keep trainable qualities for a long time, but speed is the one that drops.
Yeah. When I see myself on video sprinting, I'm like, I'm getting a bit slower now. But like I've never been the quickest, but I'm just like, there's a noticeable difference there.
Yeah.
But I
guess that's the good thing is because if you were like, let's say, a speedy point guard, you'd notice when you're in your foot. Yeah, but now because you're a centre and that's not your skill set, you're actually still able to. Power forward / centre.
Yeah. It's fine. I can play all positions.
You haven't got a centre, so you're the big guy.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, like I'm not. My skill set isn't limited by my speed. Yeah. So it's fine. But recovery wise, it's good. I don't really feel that much different. Like I said, I think it's more the attributes of I have to be more on my mobility and my kind of like pre-happy stuff now.
Yeah.
But more, I notice it like when I think I'm sprinting, like and I think I'm going fast and I'm like I'm not.
What about like when you've done like a hard gym session? Do you feel like that's harder to recover from? Are you doing less volume compared to before? Like have you made adjustments as you've got? Because I have even at like late mid-30s. So
late 30s, 32. Not really. Like I think. The thing that's always key for me is like with the basketball, especially with the masters stuff, I've intermittently just had a coach. So like this year, obviously Mark's helping out, so he controls the volume.
Yeah.
And with the big tournament stuff, with the Worlds and the Euros, I always employ someone to help me, so I don't really kind of pay attention to it.
Okay.
And then in between those tournaments, I don't do a massive amount other than play basketball.
You take 9 months off. That's the key to your longevity. You're like an American football timeline.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if you're consistent enough, like for me, the recovery is not too bad. But like I say, I'm good at sleeping and I'd stay vaguely hydrated. So,
are there any other like considerations as a coach that you put in for people that aren't quite in their youthful prime? Other things that you might consider for the older populations?
Yeah, I think volume's the main one. Just keeping an eye on that, and I think with something like basketball, which is a lot of sort of running impact. When you're training during the week and playing games, it's just kind of managing those impacts. So in the gym, just avoiding the temptation in a sport like basketball is to give the athlete loads of plyometric work because it's a very plyometric sport, but as we'll delve into perhaps a little bit later on in the podcast, like about actually looking at the opposite sometimes of like the demands of the game. So for Steve doing a lot of plyometric work in his actual basketball, we're sort of lowering that down and just taking consideration with that side of things with his training. And yeah, just obviously he's got, you know, a good amount of experience behind him now in terms of training age, so we don't need to be doing like an absolute, you know, ton of volume. We can keep that fairly minimal and still, you know, get the desired effect really. So it's just making sure we're not kind of overfilling the glass really.
I think that's coming back into the swing of the pendulum, is back to that lower volume, higher quality, which is something that I think we've always been very vocal about.
Yeah.
But I think it's even more the case as you're getting older, you're trying to really maximise good quality work rather than doing volume for volume's sake.
Well, what do you need? You know, what do you need when you, let's say, you've got the training experience of Steve? Like, we don't need to be in the gym, you know, doing 4 or 5 heavy sessions a week with, you know, 4 or 5 sets and exercise. Like it's just not needed. So the kind of, you know, stimulus we want to create is just like good, you know, good high intensity work, good quality work in terms of what we're doing. You know, we don't need to expose the body to, you know, outrageous amount of volumes. The key is that when he goes away in the summer to the Worlds, he's competing at the best, you know, in the best shape that he possibly can. And the sport is basketball. The sport isn't, you know, how much weight can we lift. That's not to say we're not working at any intensity. We are getting after it, and we're training hard, right? Like we're training hard, but the volume's like fairly like decent. I mean, you know, week 1 of the blocks is like 40-45 minutes, 50 minutes maybe, like with a good warm up, you know, in and out, job done. Exposing ourselves to good loads, you know, exposing the CNS to like good quality work, but again, not needing to sort of overcook it really, you know.
Yeah. It's interesting. Well, I mean, even if like you're not playing, even if you were like a strength athlete or just someone that wanted to get stronger, we talk all the time about the diminishing of the sets. Even more so when you're a team sport. Like, no one needs to be doing 4 sets of squats. I think
the hardest thing with like rugby programming I've done over the years is like getting the boys on board with like 2 sets of 5. You know, even like 1 set of 10 like pogos to warm up with like 1 set of other, you know, another plyo drill. You know, 2 sets of 5 week 1. We might get into 3 sets of 4, you know, 5 week 2, 3. But like this, like to get their heads around how little volume they actually need to get stronger.
Is it quality volume? Is it rather than just volume, like say volume for volume's sake?
That's definitely an age thing as well. Because I've got a couple of guys where like we speak a lot about doing like squats or whatever is your strength, and then having a bit more hypertrophy friendly exercise after it, which is like your leg pressing, your belt squat, and it'll be like, let's say 3 sets of squats and then 2 sets of belt squat after it. And the younger guys always want to do a 3rd set, and you'll see them log it on the program. They've just done a 3rd set, while like other people that have got a little bit more maturity under the belt and understand that they don't need to be doing a ridiculous amount of volume, they'll be so happy to do the 2. I love doing 2. If I see 2 sets, I'm buzzing. Just mentally 2 sets versus 3 is so much more time saving. And
it's the same on the field as well with like running drills and stuff. Like, you know, younger guys often want to get those extras in. Older guys like to do it occasionally just to show that they can, but also just a bit more management of like, right, what have I done through the week? You know, coming back from an injury, maybe it's not a good idea to push a bit harder, or big game on Saturday, maybe don't need to push. Maybe I don't need to do that extra. I'm tipping beyond the point now of like, you know, positive adaptation and fatigue. I'm sort of flirting with that a little bit too much, and you know, maybe there is an adaptation from the extra bit of fatigue, but like, what is the cost of that in relation to getting ready for the next session, the next game, etc., etc. So yeah, I'd like to think you get a little bit wiser as you get older with your training.
Do you find like with your clients, like when you program like 2 or 3 sets, that in the early days of having them as clients, that they struggle with like how many primer sets to do as well? So like I'll say to like my online clients, I do 3 working sets, but then they're never really too sure like how many they're allowed to do.
How many warm-up sets?
Yeah. Like I call it like primer or warm-up sets. Like they're all, especially I think like from a powerlifting point, it's interesting to hear what, you know, if your top end is like 180, 200, like what you're allowing them to kind of get away with.
What's really interesting with that is a lot of the more advanced guys take bigger jumps, and the kind of confidence in how they are. I think at Worlds once I was I think it was Tony Cliff, who's like the best powerlifter in Britain, or like, yeah, he's won the British like millions of times, and his warm-ups is like 4 or 5 warm-ups, and he's squatting like 330.
Yeah.
And then I look at someone in the gym, like I had a look at their warm-ups the other day, and they're doing like 6 warm-ups to get to like 100.
Yeah.
And it's just like a confidence thing of them having to feel the weights out a little bit more, practice their technique. So it seems that like as you get a little bit more advanced, you're probably a bit more confident in those bigger jumps, and that's also the trend now as well. While the not as advanced people feel the need to build confidence through the sets, maybe practice their technique. They're just thinking so much about cues at the start that they haven't got a chance to get flowing, and then they do an extra couple of sets to get going with that.
Something you just said there, which I think is quite interesting, is the use of the word or the language of primer sets rather than warm-up sets. I think that's quite good. I think like with warm-up sets, people can go through the motions a little bit, just kind of not take it seriously. Let's say it's a squat, they're just kind of like going up and down, just kind of stretching out a little bit, and that's fine, and it's going to have some benefits and get blood flow going, get us warm. But actually doing warm-up sets with intent is is key, and we can get a lot out of that as we're building up. So we're not doing our working sets, and we're not like interfering with the total amount of volume we want to do, but the warm-up sets, we're doing them fast, and we're doing them with intent, focusing on the skill, getting the mind ready for what we're about to undertake, thinking of the key coaching points. But actually, let's say like the concentric phase of a squat, like getting out the hole fast, like moving quickly. Same with a deadlift as well. So I think that's quite interesting terminology you use there.
I think like for me I find it more so with my cleans. Like yesterday, it's if I do too much, like I'm not getting to like the top end of it. So it's like bar work, mobility, and then for me it's like straight to like 60-70% for a couple of reps, and then get to that low end working set. So like what was it, 4 sets of 2 yesterday, so it's like bar kind of like 60, then straight to 85. It's like first working set. So like you say, that primer set is get enough weight on the bar that you can feel it, and then get to where you need to be, rather than 40, 50, 60.
But also there's a training adaptation there as well, isn't there? Like if you're working at around 90, 100 kilos, doing your warm-up sets at 60, 70 kilos is like enough load to you might be delving into like 50-60% there, and if looking at rate of force development, like that's we're looking at anywhere between 30 and 70%. So that's actually like, if you change the mindset, and that's where I like your use of the word like primer sets there, like there's a good adaptation to be had there from doing like 1 set of 2 at 60 kilos before we jump up to the bigger weights, and like it's worth doing properly.
I think there is that you said about like you need to feel like you're warm and you're good in those positions. I think if you're doing something like a squat or a clean, like when if you're doing a squat in particular, you do a goblet squat first. That's the mobility side of things. You get into the good positions, but then once the bar's on your back, that's your time then to start to prime it. You might do like the bar in 70 or bar in whatever your first set as mobility focused, and once you've done that, it's like, okay, now I'm going to start to switch on. I'm going to try and do them as explosive as I can. So I hate squatting the bar, so I like to do like a goblet squat, try and get into a good position, and then from there I'm trying to be as explosive as I can. With the Olympic lifting, like the first couple of sets, I'm just trying to get into a good front grab position, maybe do a couple of front squats, and then I load up to 60, and then I'm trying to be as explosive as I can. So I think you could do both of them, but once you get in close to those working sets, you want to be really trying to do them explosively, like you said, get the adaptation of it, but also practice the skill and do it intentfully.
I think as well the drop off as well, for me, I don't know about like from a powerlifting point of view, like if I spend too much time in that middle window, like yesterday's a 90 kilo clean and not a 95 kilo clean, and I'll just lose that kind of 2.5-5 kilos off the top end
from doing too many warm-up sets.
I've done too much.
I think with it's a little bit different with the Olympic lifting with squats. I think because with like your power lifts, your warm-up sets should be just warm-up sets. They shouldn't be too taxing. They shouldn't be too fatiguing. If you're warming up properly, like your last warm-up set might be, I don't know, say you got a set of 5 at 100. Your last warm-up set might be 10% down for that, for like 2 reps. So 90 for a double isn't going to create any kind of fatigue enough to take it away. While with the Olympic lifting, it might do, because it's like your last warm-up isn't going to be a 10 kilo jump. It's probably going to be a little bit closer, and then it probably has a bit more of an interference. But with the powerlifts, I think you can.
It's got a distance to travel for me as well, so
it's a bit more work for you than me. But yesterday I had a guy actually on his last warm up. He's like, "Oh, my top set didn't get that well because I don't think I only had 2 minutes between my last warm up and this." And that was like, I think his last warm up was 90 and he did 95 on the bench, but he only rested 2 minutes. So in that instance, it's 5% down, and it's pretty close in terms of the weight, and that might have a bit more of an effect. So I think it's just some people rest too much, some might not rest enough, because you can pretty much blast your warm-ups, can't you, and just get them done. Like, you want to get them done fast, but you shouldn't be resting 5 minutes.
No.
But then that last one, you want to kind of get yourself in the zone and focus, ready to go.
Yeah,
I normally try and warm up quick, and then like after the last one, just take a bit longer.
Yeah, get into the I'm going to have 4 minutes rest between
like
working sets. Exactly.
Set.
My last warm, I have 4 minutes, and I start my working sets, and the set time rest is going to be about this.
If you were to walk in the gym cold, what do you think percentage-wise you should be able to lift without a proper warm-up?
What, like if I had no chance to warm up?
Yeah, so if you were to walk in the gym and someone was like, right, you need to do 1 set good squats or bench press, like what percentage do you reckon you could get of your top end, like without?
I remember once I don't know why I did it. I tried to do 70 to 170,
right.
And I did it, but it felt fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
I've benched 100 without warming up. There's someone doing the American test 100 kilo, and I was let me have a go, and I got like 10 or something. I just went, let me try it. Squat is tough. No warm up. I reckon 70-80%.
Yeah. What do you reckon?
Squat 10%. everything else will be fine, but yeah. Like a deadlift, I could probably go going cold and lift quite well.
Okay.
I thought the opposite with that. I would not want to deadlift from nothing to 200. I would not want to do that.
I'd rather deadlift than squat.
Yeah. I wouldn't want that weight on my back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to lift the weight through my back like that.
Yeah. Interesting.
There's a couple of you hear a couple of people and they're famous because it's so rare. There was like an American powerlifter and he did no warm up sets. He would do just some general mobility, not with a bar, and then he'd go in and just do his opener. And I'm like, man, that is like, if you don't need to warm up, that is just like, if you're doing squats, it takes 20 minutes to warm up and then 10 minutes of working sets. If you could just not warm up for any exercise, you'd be.
That's a superpower. That is a superpower.
There was
a lot of time.
Bradley does the same as well. Barbell Bradley.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's changed a little bit now, but at one point he's like, I'm going to do 180 on my trap bar, and he just puts 180 on it. He just does the set. I'm like, man, that's so class. Like, his sessions are so time efficient because of it. Yeah. At some point, I think he obviously needs to, but
that scares me.
Yeah. There you go. That was a longer than normal chat about age.
Yeah.
Inspired by you, Steve. We wanted to talk a little bit about goings on with the half marathon and stuff like that. We've got a few people running this weekend. Do you want to give us a general charity update?
Well, I think the charity stuff's been going really well so far. I think we sort of, you look back now, we've probably given ourselves a lot to do in terms of the amount of events we want to do and stuff, but no regrets. We march on, we do what we can. I think it's been a great start so far. The quiz, the Zumba, the Mega Metcon. To be hitting £1,000 already is a great start. I think we've got some big ones to go where we can raise a lot more, I think, with what's to come. We've got the half marathon this weekend. Sunday. Got a few guys running for us in that. So really excited to see how the guys go. I know you've been programming for some of those guys. I've been programming for Josh. He's in great shape. Looking forward to seeing how he goes. And hopefully we'll raise a few quid. Hopefully the guys get out of it what they want to get out and enjoy themselves and hit the goals that they want to hit. Then we're into the 24-hour challenge, which we are very much looking forward to. Yeah. That's coming around quickly as well. And I think that's one where I think when you're trying to raise money for charity, like you gotta go through the, you got to get on the suffer bus for a little bit, haven't you? You got to get after it and like put yourself in a bit of a hole and do something really, really tough. And the 24-hour challenge is certainly going to be that, which will be followed up by the Three Peaks challenge, which again is going to be a real tough event. So we're going to push those ones, and hopefully they'll be the ones that we really drive it and raise some good money for a great cause in Macmillan.
Because I think like doing a quiz is cool, and like you've took part, so you donate a little bit. But when you say, look, man, I'm climbing the Three Bigs mountains, or I'm doing 24 hours non-stop exercise, that inspires people to donate. And they're tough challenges, man. You two are doing the 24. I will be involved, but you two are doing the full.
We're going to be 24. Here, We're going to be on site for 24 hours.
We're doing the whole thing. We're committing to the whole 24 hours.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. We were speaking about this earlier. Like looking forward to the suffering of it in a bit of a sadistic way. Like I just think, every now and again in life, it's good to put yourself through something really uncomfortable.
There's a Japanese term, isn't there?
That's what I say about watching you do Zumba last week. Yeah,
mate, that's some suffering. Luckily, not for 24 hours.
Yeah,
it's interesting to me that you you seem very happy about the 24. You're like, and then you're quite nervous about the 3 peaks.
Yeah, I'm excited about the 3 peaks.
No, for sure, but I'm
really excited about it. But I'm a little bit nervous
24.
just because I've come off the hiking trail a little bit, so to speak.
I'm a little bit nervous. I normally get nervous.
Yeah,
I'm sort of panic.
I'm excited by the 3 peaks.
Yeah. Max is doing it blindfolded.
I've not done. Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I've just not done a lot of hiking lately, and I think I'm conditioning wise probably not in the best shape I've ever been in at the moment, but let's get after it. I'm sure I can manage it.
Mate, we'll get a hike in before.
For sure. Little primer.
I was talking to Kelly yesterday and I said, she says, I said, we're doing the 3 peaks. I said, I'd like to get a hike. She's like, when are you going to get one in?
Oh, it's a very good
in between maybe on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Me and Mark might take a work day on a Tuesday and go and climb Snowdon.
I think we're going to have to. Yeah, I'd like to do 1 or 2. I'd like to do maybe something like easy-ish, like a Long Mind or something, and then go and do like a Snowdon, at least get a Snowdon done before we go and do the 3. I think it'll be quite good.
I would like to wish you both the best of luck with that.
Yeah.
One of my mates has got this really funny list. He's like, look, these are all the hikes I want to do, and it's got he's done a 3-day expedition in the Alps. He wants to do Machu Picchu, and then it says Baggeridge Country Park at the bottom, which is a leisurely hour walk in Wolverhampton. I was like, how the fuck is this made of this? It's just really weird to me.
Get in.
But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So 24-hour challenge.
24-hour. Yeah.
Any details of that for our lovely
Google
members?
form will go out over the weekend, early next week, to start getting people to book in, and we're going to put it on Team Up as well, I think. And we're just going to get people booked in to help us, because it's going to be a wondrous, miserable 24 hours for both of us.
I think that's the case. We're doing the 24 hours, and we're hoping that others will jump in, some for an hour, some for a few hours. If anyone wants to come in and jump in, and for the 12 or 24 hours, they are more than welcome.
Yeah.
All sport will be welcome. We're going to try and document the whole thing if we can. Essentially, we're just doing a workout for 24 hours straight. We're allowed to drink water, we're allowed to eat some food on the go, but it's going to be pretty, full on for the 24 hours. So
it's going to be tough.
And we're looking forward to it,
Yeah, man,
and it is on the weekend of...
so we have changed the date. It was going to be Friday into Saturday on the
16th.
The 16th and the 17th, but we've now pushed it onto the 17th and the 18th because more people want to get involved, and apparently people have jobs on a Friday, so they can't come. So we're going to do it on the Saturday into the Sunday, and it'll all be on Team Up, and we'll put some more social media stuff out over the weekend.
Great.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Look forward to it.
We're doing naked hour as well, aren't we?
Yeah, that could be any hour, basically.
Yeah.
So, one particular hour in the 24 hours, we'll be doing it naked. Yeah.
Mate,
it's a gamble. It could be 9 in the morning, it could be 3 in the morning, could be 3 in the afternoon.
The other gamble is where to stand if you're watching when you guys are pushing a sledge naked. I don't know which angle I want. I know which one I don't want. The ceiling's looking very ceilingy today, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of hallucination and delirium at some point at midnight or 4 in the morning, but we'll get through.
Yeah.
Find out if
the hardest thing is just staying awake. That's the hardest thing. So
find out if we really like each other.
It's going to be a bonding experience, isn't it, for sure?
We'll come out the other side.
Is Luke doing the full 24 hours? That's what I want to know.
No, he's not.
No, I'm not.
No,
I'm very open about that. No lies.
I think it would just be me and you.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's fine.
I will do a solid
20 minutes.
4 hours.
You can bring us coffee, then food, and
Forget
snacks.
Mark's card while he's naked. I'll go and grab the coffees. I will not be doing the full one. I will be doing the mountain goats.
That's fine.
But I'll be in for a nice chunk of it.
My hope is that places like Otto, maybe Saint's Kitchen, some places send us a pizza, send us a coffee, I don't know, send us a food parcel, and just be like, what up guys, good luck.
Yeah.
Maybe some baking from Naz and
exactly, like
chopping names, putting pressure on.
Yeah.
Or Gloria.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Pressure.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about some core training we were speaking about and thinking about?
Yeah, we had an interesting chat, or you had an interesting chat with Max earlier about one of our clients who has a very sedentary job, and the considerations in regards to core training for that person who is sat down for very, very, very long periods of time throughout the day. And the interesting thing is, we were talking earlier about like kind of opposites. So with Steve with his basketball, like the temptations to do loads and loads of plyometrics, and yes, we do want to expose them to plyometrics, but we really want to actually, sort of build a lot of strength and do a lot of static kind of work in that respect. When we've got someone who is sat down all day, kind of doing static core work, like your planks, your side planks, a lot of static work in the gym, is actually maybe not the optimal thing to do. I think like when you're sat down for those long periods, your gym, coming into gyms, you have one chance to actually move and be a little bit more dynamic. So I think sometimes it's worth taking those things into consideration. Like, what is the sport? What is your, your job? What do you do a lot of the time? And actually, like, rather than coming in the gym and trying to do more of the same, actually just exposing the body to something a little bit different, really. So I know you had that chat with Max earlier today, but
yeah, no, 100%. I think it's the same with like if you sat down all day and then you come to the gym to do machine-based work and you're sitting down for a big chunk of that as well. I just think there's a massive benefit of trying to be a bit more freestanding with your exercise if you're sat down all day. I think it's tough. You see it a lot in commercial gyms where you might work 9 till 1 and then you got 1 till 2 to go to the gym, and then you go and sit down and do all your machine-based stuff seated, like seated leg extension, which have all got their place. But if you're just doing exclusively sitting down work, you've not had that nice break in between, which is going to be a huge benefit. I think with the core work, it makes sense to kind of do the opposite. You already spend a long time sitting down in this position, so spending a bit more time being dynamic, moving side to side is a good thing to do from a health benefit as well as a performance benefit if it's the opposite of what you do in a sport. And I think it's really important. It's definitely something I've changed my opinion on as well with powerlifting. While in the past I kind of had this more general, so like further away from competition, a bit more general style training, you might lean into more high rep work, which is still the case, but like further away I'd be like, okay, we're going to be more dynamic with our core work. And then as you get close to the comp, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to get more specific now and do a lot more static and anti-rotational, anti-extension work. But I think the powerlifts already take care of that. You already do it, like every time you're doing a squat, you're avoiding kind of flexing or extending under load. You're avoiding shifting to the side. That's already taken care of. So actually, in terms of balancing out the stress and the repetitive nature of powerlifting, you're probably going to get more benefit from doing something more dynamic. And from a injury prevention perspective, that's going to be better for you. And just how the body feels is probably going to help more than doing the static stuff.
Definitely, yeah.
Top 3 dynamic core exercises off the top of your head.
My favourite at the minute, 2 feet elevated side plank dips. I think that's a huge bang for your buck. You get good lateral flexion, you get a good amount of range through the obliques, through the glute med. I think that's one of my favourites. I like a GHD or actually a rope crunch, kneeling rope crunch, because I think that's one that you can, like most people kind of just coast through their core work. This, like if you're doing a leg now, you're never going above a 15 or 20 kilo plate. No. But with the rope crunch, you can be like, okay, I've done 15 reps on 40 kilos. Next week I'm going to try and do 45. It's very scalable. Yeah. So I really like that. Do you want to chuck one in, Mark?
Yeah, I'd say any sort of carry, really. Like I think a single arm overhead carry is a great one that we're doing at the Barbell Club at the moment.
They're a good one because it's a nice balance between, like, there is the static component but you are also moving. Exactly. It's a nice balance. Same with like an ab roller, it's static but you are also, it's also dynamic in nature. It's a nice combo of the two.
I think an ab roller is a great one. Like not for everybody.
Not everyone can tolerate it through the shoulders.
Yeah.
Quite like a hanging leg raise as well.
That's growing on me. Yeah. I've started implementing that in my own training, and it's something I've never really done. If
we was going to get anything, I'd love to get the old harness where you're like that. Because it's fucking hard holding them.
I think that's one of the benefits is holding on. I know, like, you get to a point where what are you actually training for? But like,
you need to remember, I'm 76 kilos. Right.
It's a long way to hold on to.
You don't get it.
You don't know. You don't know.
Straps short.
Trying to hold that 76 up. Yeah. Tough gig.
What about you? What's your favourite? What are your staples? I imagine for you, because I also like it for myself, I love like ball rotations. Something a bit more dynamic, a bit more explosive. Because for powerlifting, that's the complete other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I love a lateral ball slam. And I also find it quite interesting because I think I don't think I'm abstract to the rule here. I can generate quite a lot of power laterally. And so when I say to my clients, like, slam the ball, and they're just like, meh. And I'm like...
That's why they call you the hermit crab.
Do you know, I always wondered why they called me that. And I love a nap rollout as well.
Yeah?
Like, even with my
shoulders feel alright?
Yeah, even with my super long arms.
That's hell of it, like 5 metres of coverage between the span of the arms and the body.
They've been my two favourite.
Love chucking a med ball. Like, just,
like
I say, that lateral thing, and I think, like, similar to you, I think it's something we get exposed, like that sort of lateral, you know, power is something we're quite exposed to in our sports, and like love just chucking a med ball into the wall as hard as I can.
The noise when you get it right is satisfying.
If you were to use a verbal prompt to a client for a lateral ball slam to make them generate as much power as they can, what would you use?
Put a hole in the wall.
I'm more kind of internally curious, so like trying, because a lot of times they're stiffing up in their legs and they're just trying to get them to use their legs a little bit as well. Depending on what you want, because sometimes you want to separate the legs and the ribs. You want to keep the hips fairly static, rotate, but if you're trying to be as powerful as you can, allowing them to be a bit more free flowing.
I always go
for like a punch.
Imagine the building is on fire and you need to break the window, otherwise you're going to burn to death.
And they're like,
yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
With your core stuff, do you ever program anything specifically lower back, not including like a GHD extension or 45-degree height, because that's a little bit more posterior chain? Anything like lower back raises, anything like that?
For me, yes. You know, again, I did quite a lot with jazz. Sport weightlifting is obviously a lot of heavy lifting lower back, so like we add in quite a bit of accessory work, which is a little bit softer and a little bit less load, shall we say, but just good, like, you know, decent accessory work around the erectors.
What's the rationale for that? Like, do you feel like he's not getting enough of it in his weightlifting, or do you want to just build up that specific strength?
Just build up that specific strength, really. So get a lot of we do a lot of like positional, like hold work and things like that in his pulls, just to keep the stiffness in his back when he's pulling in the first pull. It's one of the key areas of weightlifting is like first pull to like start the transition and just maintaining complete rigidity in the lower back. So we do a lot of that through obviously our heavy lifting, but just exposing the lower back to a bit of accessory
is that
work
with Jazz
is quite
because
useful.
he's probably faster than he's strong, or?
Yeah, definitely. I think like for probably all kind of weightlifters or that, you know, people of that ilk, but probably even more so with someone who's a faster lifter than they are a stronger lifter, definitely, because that's the thing. Like Jazz is never going to miss a lift getting under the bar. He's always going to be quick enough to get under the bar. The key is in the actual pulling phase, can we maintain positioning? You know, and are we strong enough, obviously, and the two obviously are intertwined to a large extent. So we want to keep that stiffness in the back. And if you look back to like a few years ago, that was where he was losing a lot of his lifts, was losing a bit of back position the first pull. So we stripped that completely and worked on that a lot. And then, you know, just going a bit too early on the extension, and we're just coming up a little bit higher now, just being a bit more patient in the transition and the second pull. So yeah, that's so adding in some good accessory work there. We do a lot of like, you know, frontal work as well, like, you know, in terms of the core, because he is doing a shitload of posterior chain, and it's important that we balance that out with some anterior trunk work as well.
Nice. Decent. I'm happy to round it up there. Have we missed anything?
No, I've had a lovely time. Yeah, good chat.
I'm glad you have. Me too.
The three amigos.
Thank you guys. Thank you all for listening. And I think we can round up there. Enjoy, and good luck to everyone taking part in the half marathon. And we will catch you all on the next podcast. Thanks, guys.